about writing this book. And it's beautiful, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I believe, so this is my belief, and we are all souls. I believe that my brother came back through me, and together our souls we have our life purpose, our soul's purpose is to help, especially mothers, but families in their grief. I think he needed to come back. His spirit and soul needed to come back to help that. And my mom's part of that process. So working with my mom, I started understanding what are some of the things that I could help her delve into and to help peel away those layers and heal from some of these emotions that were holding her back. And I'm a life coach. And when I started in life coaching, I was not going to do a specialized niche. I just knew that I loved to coach people for my whole life. And when I hung up my shingle, just as right at the get-go, two of my first clients, my very two first clients were grieving moms. Mm-hmm. One was 5 years out from the death of her son, who was 13 years old. And the other one was a woman that she came to me because she was grieving the death of her father. But as we talked, her child, who was 7 or 8 had died 30 years prior. And so we realized, and as we started working together, that there's all this buried grief that was within her too, that had really created struggles in her life. And so we started working on that with no intention that's why we started the coaching process. And so as I worked with more and more moms would come to me and more families. And as I was doing this work, I could really see what are the things that were really helpful for people to find that healing on this earth. Yeah. And I also saw what are some of the things that where I coined the phrase failed grief, where people really struggled. And so there were common denominators that I saw. So I took what I learned and put it into this book. What are the steps that can help really embrace the grieving as what it's there to do? And it is there for healing. That's what grief is. And grief is because we love so deeply. Had we never had loved, we wouldn't be grieving. But it really is a healing process. Yeah. That's what it is. And that's what it's meant to do. So I took all of that and put that into these steps. And so, as I say, I'm not the creator of the steps, so to speak, in this program. It's all the beautiful families and especially the grieving moms who have really shared the wisdom with me. And I was able to take that and put it into form so that we can help more families down the road, so that they have the ability to talk about it and do these things to really, honor their children and work through the emotions that are there.
Yeah. Well, and you've done a beautiful job, because I remember when, I don't even think maybe it was 6 or 7 months, maybe 8 months out after my daughter's passing. And I hadn't really wanted to hear somebody else's story to help through the grief. But one day I knew that there was a church that was offering a speaker, and apparently he's a very highly sought after speaker about grief, and especially grieving the loss of a child. And it's like, oh, perfect. So I'll go and listen. And one of the very first things that he talked about was he lost his mom, I don't know, like maybe 6 months or a year. I don't remember. It seems like it was a short time prior to him coming in and doing this talk. And he said, so I understand. And I just wanted to jump up and rip his face off. It was like, if you don't understand, like, your mom is not your child. Like, what is that? And of course there's still that, I'm still in that piece of that anger, so it was great to be able to be angry at somebody, because I'd been angry enough at God. And I don't know if I ever really got angry with Dare. I really don't think that I did. I think I was really angry at God, and then dust and any of that other stuff. But and at the time, of course, I never saw it as a blessing. But he ended up becoming one of the biggest blessings in my life, because, and of course, I never said anything to him. I was very, thankful that he was speaking. But it allowed me to realize this anger piece in me is very much alive, and that I want to be careful with that. because you can't just go around lashing out at people because you've gone through a traumatic thing of losing a child. And so reading your book, you would think that you had lost a child. That's what I'm so taken aback with, because it feels like you know the words, not the word, that's not what I meant to say at all. You know the feeling, and you are able to express it in a way that's comforting and loving and supporting, and not here's my theory, this is kind of what and for a person who has lost a child, that's because I do work with other people that have lost children, and it's painful to hear it that way. And that's not at all how your book is. It's so much as if you have lost a child. And so it makes me wonder also, through Greg, is this more of the information that you got from Greg to be able to, because he was the child, and then working with your mom? Was it all of that coming together to be able to write this so powerfully?
I think so. I mean, that's my belief. I believe that we definitely are being divinely guided. And again, the women that I've worked with, especially the women, men also, but they've been my teachers. They've been my wisdom keepers. And so I was able to take that information, and I'm the child of a grieving family. So I have a unique perspective that way. Yeah. Because I'm the child of, so I see things maybe a little bit differently, but yet I totally get it. Working with my mom, and I don't know, I can't really describe it, but I just feel like I was inside of her. I could feel all of those emotions, even though I hadn't done it myself. And so maybe it is that soul connection between all of us. I mean, I truly believe that my brother came to share that because he was the child, and I don't know, I mean, yeah. I just feel all of this was all divinely orchestrated. Yes. And I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing because that's what I've been called to do. And I know some people will say, but they all think that I've lost a child. And I don't know, for some reason, I just have such a deep connection with all of you who have. I feel like I don't understand, and I will never say that I understand, that I get it. Never. Because I don't. I've not experienced that. And everybody's experience is so different. Like you said, just real quickly, you said, you kind of wondered what it would have been like, if your daughter was 2 or 10 or right. 30 or 40. My mom always said he was only 4 months old, so it wasn't as bad for me as it was for someone who would have had, like her friends whose children had died, or my relatives whose children had died, in their teens or 20s or 30s. Mm. So that was her way of coping, I think, is that I didn't know him as well because I only had him for 4 months. Right. So everybody's grief is different, but I believe that, I truly believe that Greg is my soul in so many different ways, and this is why we're here, and if we can help people, that's what we're here to do.
Yeah. So beautiful. Well, you absolutely do. There's no question about it. You absolutely do. And being someone who walks that path, reading your book is it's powerfully healing, and it's just spot on. I love it. It's a beautiful book, and I highly recommend it. And I know exactly some people that this book needs to go out to. Yeah. And of course, we're going to run out of time because it seems like this time is just a blink of an eye and it's all over with. But you still feel, even now, that connection with Greg inside of you, correct? I mean, that's still there. You still carry him around with you.
Oh, yeah. I talk to him all the time.
Awesome. And he answers you. Do you hear? Because I know that there's times that I will ask my daughter a question and I'll hear the answer inside, which is no words whatsoever. And then there's other times I'll hear the answer inside and it is words. So how do you hear an answer with words, or a feeling, or a nudge to do something? How is it for you?
Like you, it's different. Sometimes it's a feeling, but it's words, but it's not words.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to describe that for people who may not have experienced that, but it's words, it's very clearly communicating, but it may not necessarily be the way you and I are speaking right now.
Yeah. Yes. Well, and I have no idea, because I believe everything is a miracle. I think that was Albert Einstein who had said that. You can view the world as everything is a miracle or nothing is a miracle. And I don't know what this miracle and synchronistic moment is, but as we're having this conversation, there are two birds that are mating right outside of my window, and they'll fly up and then they jump down and then they fly up. And it's just life. It's more life. It's more life. And it's like, I love it. Oh, and especially in a conversation that's not always so easy to have. Pat, I'm so grateful that you are in my world, and that I have access to this book, and I have access to you, and how powerfully this can help heal other people's lives. And because you are a coach and you work with people that are grieving, and you are a funeral. I don't want to say director. I forgot my word.
Celebrant.
Yes, and I love how you do it. I don't know if you were doing this 12 years ago, but that would have been so beautiful because you're just in a panic. I never thought I would have to do this. Like, oh my God, where do you go and how do you do all of this stuff? I wish I would have known you. It would have been, but of course, everything happens exactly how it's supposed to happen. You have so much beautiful work that you're doing, and all of your information will be on the show notes, so people will be able to connect with you if they need to. Want you for coaching with grieving, for funerals or celebrations of life, all of that. The easiest way to get in touch with you before the show notes are out, can you share that with us?
Yep, just email me, and it is Pat Sheveland, all one word, at msn.com.
Okay, perfect. And then that information will for surely be in the show notes. And then there's also a link that will be in the show notes for a free ebook for the How Do I Survive? 7 Steps to Living After Child Loss. And I guess I've lost a child, so I know it's very comforting. Maybe even if you haven't lost a child, a loss of anything, because you have powerful words, powerful statements in here, and all of us have lost something, and all of us have grieved something in our life. And I want to thank you. I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I feel so, I'm just very grateful. Thank you, Pat.
I am so grateful to you and feeling so blessed and so glad that we connected. This is how it's meant to be, right?
Yes, absolutely. And as soon as it is possible, I would love to sit down and have a cup of coffee and just a conversation and just be in that energy. And so I look forward to doing that very soon.
Yes, I look forward to that too.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. And listeners, Pat's information, all of it will be in the show notes. Powerful woman, and the real deal. And I love being able to bring people on that are all about healing and helping, and helping this world to be the most beautiful place that it is supposed to be. So thank you again, Pat, and thank you, listeners. Wishing you the most beautiful day and most beautiful week, and we will see you here again next week. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you for spending time with us today. Please go to nadahogan.com for show notes and other information you can use right away. If you like what you heard here, please subscribe to our show, and don't forget to rate and review right there on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, or wherever you get your shows. And don't forget to tell your friends about it. We'll see you next week.